Hello everyone and welcome to another video here on WooEnglish. I hope you are doing great. I hope you are ready to learn again some English from another fun and interesting real life story. This is what we do best at WooEnglish. Today we chose for you a very interesting case, that of Sam Altman. I think the majority of you are already familiar with this name. Maybe you have heard this before. But today you will know the entire story. The story will be both written and audio. So you will listen to the story and at the same time you can see the text. You can learn best, or you can ameliorate and take your learning to the next level with three basic steps. First, listen to the full story, don't judge, and just keep listening and expose yourself to it. Number two, listen again, but this time pay closer attention to vocabulary. Maybe look up the vocabulary that you don't know, and maybe take some notes of new vocabulary that you have just learned. Number three, after you finish, you can test yourself by going down below and trying the quiz that you will find in the pinned comment. So, without further ado, I'm gonna let you go and try to listen to the story for the first time. Don't forget, of course, to subscribe if this is your first time listening to the story. Like it if you think you are going to benefit from it. And of course, share it with someone that you think can benefit from it. Thank you so much. Let's go to the listening.
Chapter 1. A Boy Who Asked Why. Sam Altman was 8 years old. He had a computer in his bedroom. This was 1993. Most families did not have a computer, but Sam's family did. The room was quiet. Outside, the street was dark. The only light came from the white glow of the screen, cold and steady on his face. Sam did not use the computer to play games. He used it to think. He opened programs. He closed them. He opened them again. He asked one question over and over. How does this work? Sam grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. It is a quiet city in the middle of America. His mother was a dermatologist, a doctor for skin. His father was a real estate broker. They were a normal family, a comfortable family. But Sam was not a normal boy. He read books that were too difficult for his age. He talked to adults like he was one of them. He was always thinking about technology, about the future, about big ideas. His teachers noticed this. His parents noticed this. Everyone noticed this. When Sam was 16, he got his first iPod. He did not just use it. He studied it. He thought, someone built this. Someone decided what it could do. Someone changed the world with this small thing. This idea stayed in his head. Someone changed the world. Why not me? At 17, Sam went to Stanford University in California. Stanford is one of the best universities in the world. It is also very close to Silicon Valley, the home of Apple, Google, and many other technology companies. For Sam, this was the perfect place. He studied computer science. He met smart people. He talked about ideas every day. But after 2 years, Sam made a big decision. He left Stanford. He did not finish his degree. His parents were worried. His friends were surprised. But Sam was not worried. He was excited. He had an idea. And he wanted to build it. In 2005, Sam started his first company. It was called Looped. Looped was a simple idea, an app that showed you where your friends were. Today, this sounds normal. But in 2005, it was new. It was different. Sam worked day and night. He had very little money. He had very little sleep. But he had one thing: belief. He believed that technology could connect people. He believed that the future was coming fast. He believed that someone needed to build it. Looped was not a huge success, but it taught Sam something important. It taught him how to fail and keep going. It taught him how to lead and stay calm. It taught him how to see the future, even when other people couldn't. In 2012, the company was sold. Sam received some money. He could have stopped. He could have rested. But Sam looked at the technology world and felt something strange. He felt worried. Not about failure, not about money. He was worried about something much bigger, something that could change everything, something called artificial intelligence. Sam said to a friend, "AI is coming. It will be more powerful than anything we have seen before, and if the wrong people build it, the world will not be safe." His friend laughed. Sam did not laugh. He was already thinking about what to do next. Chapter 2. The year everything changed. In 2012, Sam Altman was 27 years old. His company, Looped, was sold. The price was $43.4 million. This was not a failure, but it was not the giant success Sam had imagined either. Looped had a good idea, but the world was not ready for it. Or maybe the world moved too fast and left Looped behind. Either way, it was over. Sam was young. He had money. He had time. Most people would have rested. Sam did not rest. He had already been watching a small organization in Silicon Valley. It was called Y Combinator. Y Combinator, or YC, was not a company. It was not a university. It was something new. It was a program for young people with ideas. Every few months, YC chose a group of small startups. It gave them a little money, a lot of advice, and 3 months to build something real. Many famous companies started inside YC, including Airbnb, Dropbox, and Reddit. The man who built YC was named Paul Graham. Paul Graham was a programmer, a writer, and a thinker. He was famous in Silicon Valley for finding talent early, before anyone else saw it. And Paul Graham had noticed Sam Altman. In 2011, before Looped was sold, Paul Graham invited Sam to become a part-time partner at Y Combinator. Sam accepted. He started meeting founders, listening to their ideas, asking hard questions. He was good at this. Very good. He could look at a small idea and ask, "Can this become something big?" He could look at a founder and ask, "Is this person strong enough to build it?" In 2014, Paul Graham made a public announcement. He was leaving Y Combinator, and he chose Sam Altman as his successor, the new president of YC. Sam was 28 years old. Paul Graham wrote publicly about this decision. He said that Sam was, in his opinion, the person he would most want running a company in an emergency. He described Sam as having an unusual combination of qualities, someone who could think clearly and also act quickly. Sam became president of Y Combinator. He worked hard. He expanded the program. He met hundreds of founders every year. But something else was happening at the same time. Something bigger. Around the world, a small number of researchers were working on a new kind of technology. They called it artificial intelligence. Not the robots from movies, not science fiction. Something real. Something mathematical. Something that was learning, slowly, then quickly, how to read, write, and think. Sam was watching this closely. Other people in Silicon Valley were watching too. One of them was Elon Musk. the founder of Tesla and SpaceX. In December 2015, Sam Altman and Elon Musk made a public announcement together. They were co-founding a new organization. The name was OpenAI. It was structured as a non-profit. Its stated mission was simple and serious at the same time: to ensure that artificial general intelligence benefits all of humanity. The founding group included several top AI researchers. They announced an initial funding commitment of $1 billion. This was not a small project. This was a statement. It said, AI is coming. It will be powerful, and it must be built carefully. Sam Altman was 30 years old. He was president of Y Combinator. He was co-founder of OpenAI. Two big responsibilities, two different visions. Both pointed in the same direction, toward the future. Chapter 3: The Man in the Middle. For 3 years, Sam Altman lived two lives. During the day, he was the president of Y Combinator. He met founders. He read business plans. He asked hard questions. He helped young companies grow. At night, and on weekends, and early in the mornings, he was thinking about OpenAI. 2 jobs, 2 responsibilities, 2 futures. This is not unusual in Silicon Valley. Many people work on several things at the same time. But OpenAI was not a small side project. It was becoming something very serious. When OpenAI started in 2015, it was a research organization. Its job was simple: study artificial intelligence, understand it, publish the results so that everyone in the world could read them. The idea was openness, sharing knowledge, not hiding it. This is where the name came from, OpenAI. The team was small. The offices were quiet. Most people outside Silicon Valley had never heard of it. But inside the organization, the work was moving fast. The researchers were building systems that could read text and produce text, systems that could learn from data, systems that were getting better, month after month, year after year. In 2018, something changed at OpenAI. Elon Musk left the board. Musk said publicly that he had disagreements about the direction of the organization. He also said there was a potential conflict because his own company, Tesla, was developing AI for its cars. He stepped away. This was a big moment. Musk had been one of the co-founders. He had brought attention, money, and credibility to OpenAI. Without him, the organization needed a new direction. It needed a clear leader. In 2019, Sam Altman made a decision. He left Y Combinator. After 5 years, first as a partner, then as president, he stepped down. He thanked Paul Graham and the YC team publicly. He said that YC had been one of the most important experiences of his life. And then, he turned his full attention to OpenAI. He became the CEO. That same year, OpenAI made another important announcement. The organization was changing its structure. It was no longer purely a non-profit. It created a new model, something called a capped profit company. This meant that investors could put money in, but their profits were limited. They could not take unlimited returns. The mission, beneficial AI for all of humanity, stayed the same. But now OpenAI could raise more money. It could hire more researchers. It could build bigger systems. Some people in the AI world supported this decision. Others were not sure. They worried that money would change the organization's values. This debate was public. It was loud, and it did not stop. Also, in 2019, OpenAI released something called GPT-2. It was a language model, a system that could read text and write text. The results were surprising. GPT-2 could write paragraphs that sounded like a human wrote them. It could continue a story. It could answer questions. It was not perfect, but it was different from anything before it. OpenAI was so careful about GPT-2 that at first they did not release the full version to the public. They were worried about how people might use it. This decision was also debated publicly. But one thing was clear. Something new had arrived. Sam Altman was now 34 years old. He had one job, one focus, one mission. The quiet research organization he had co-founded 4 years ago was now at the center of one of the biggest conversations in the world. And the conversation was just beginning. Chapter 4. The Moment the World Changed. Before November 2022, most people had never heard of OpenAI. They had never heard of GPT. They had never thought about large language models or artificial intelligence or what a machine could do with words. Then everything changed. In 1 month, in 1 week, almost in 1 day. The years before this moment were years of quiet, serious work. In 2020, OpenAI released GPT-3. GPT-3 was much bigger and more powerful than GPT-2. It could write essays. It could answer complex questions. It could produce text that was difficult to separate from human writing. Researchers and technology companies noticed immediately. The general public did not. GPT-3 was available through an API, a technical tool for developers. It was not designed for ordinary people. It required technical knowledge to use. So the world did not see it clearly. Not yet. Inside OpenAI, the team continued working. They were building a new kind of interface, something simple, something direct. Not for developers, not for researchers, for everyone. They called it ChatGPT. It was a conversation tool. A user could type a question, in plain, ordinary language, and receive a clear, detailed answer. No technical knowledge required. No special training. Just words. On November 30th, 2022, OpenAI released ChatGPT to the public. It was released quietly. There was no large advertising campaign, no stadium event, no countdown. It appeared online, and people began to use it. Then they told other people. Those people told more people. Within 5 days, 1 million people had created an account. This was an extraordinary number. Most technology products take months or years to reach 1 million users. ChatGPT reached that number in less than a week. Within 2 months, ChatGPT had 100 million users. This made it the fastest-growing consumer application in history at that time. Newspapers around the world wrote about it. Television programs discussed it. Teachers, doctors, lawyers, and writers all had an opinion. Some people were excited. Some people were frightened. Some people were both. Sam Altman responded publicly to the reaction. On Twitter, he wrote that ChatGPT was an early version, imperfect, limited, a research preview. He also wrote something that many people remembered. ChatGPT is incredibly limited, but good enough at some things to create a misleading impression of greatness. He was careful. He was honest about the limitations. But he also said that the technology would continue to improve. He was right. In January 2023, Microsoft announced a new investment in OpenAI. The amount was reported to be approximately $10 billion. This followed an earlier investment of $1 billion in 2019. Microsoft integrated OpenAI's technology into its products, including its search engine, Bing, and its Office software. The partnership was one of the largest in the history of the technology industry. In March 2023, OpenAI released GPT-4. It was significantly more capable than GPT 3.5, the model behind ChatGPT. It could read images. It could handle longer and more complex text. It performed at a high level on professional examinations, including medical and legal tests. The world was no longer asking, "What is AI?" The world was now asking a different question. What does this mean for us? Sam Altman was 37 years old. The organization he had helped build was now at the center of a global conversation, and the hardest moments were still ahead. Chapter 5. The Day Sam Was Fired. It was a Friday, November 17th, 2023. Sam Altman was 38 years old. He was the CEO of one of the most talked-about companies in the world. And then, suddenly, he was not. The news arrived without warning. At least, without warning for most people. OpenAI's board of directors released a short public statement. It said that Sam Altman was removed as CEO, effective immediately. The reason given was brief and formal. The board wrote that Sam had not been consistently candid in his communications with them. They said they had lost confidence in his ability to lead the organization. That was all. No long explanation, no list of specific events, no details, just a short paragraph, and a decision that shocked the technology world. The reaction was immediate. Within hours, the story was on the front page of every major technology publication in the world. Investors were alarmed. Microsoft, which had put approximately $10 billion into OpenAI, saw its share price move as markets tried to understand what had happened. Inside OpenAI, the situation was serious. Greg Brockman, the co-founder and president of OpenAI, resigned the same day in solidarity with Sam Altman. He posted publicly that he was shocked and saddened by what had happened. Several senior researchers also left the company in the days that followed. Then something unusual happened. The employees of OpenAI responded. Publicly. Within days, approximately 700 of OpenAI's 770 employees signed an open letter. The letter said that the board had acted wrongly. It said that the board had failed to act in the interests of the company and its mission. The employees wrote that if Sam Altman was not returned as CEO, they would consider leaving OpenAI and following Sam to whatever he did next. This was extraordinary. A public statement from almost an entire workforce directed at their own board of directors. It was not a private complaint. It was a visible, documented act of collective support. Ilya Sutskever, one of OpenAI's co-founders and a key member of the board that had voted to remove Sam, posted publicly on social media. He wrote that he regretted his role in the board's decision. He said he had not fully understood the consequences of what the board was doing. The board had also made a practical problem for itself. They had removed the CEO, but they had not found a replacement. They named a temporary CEO, first Mira Murati, OpenAI's chief technology officer, and then, within days, Emmett Shear, a co-founder of Twitch. The situation was unstable. It was changing every day. The board was under enormous pressure, from employees, from investors, and from the public. On November 21st, 2023, just 4 days after he was fired, Sam Altman returned. OpenAI announced that he would come back as CEO. The board that had fired him was dissolved. A new board was formed. Sam Altman posted a short public statement. He wrote that he loved OpenAI and that he was looking forward to returning. He did not describe the 4 days in detail. He looked forward, not back. 4 days. From fired to returned in 4 days. It was one of the most dramatic moments in the history of the technology industry. And for most of the world, it raised a question that nobody had fully answered yet. Who exactly controls OpenAI? Chapter 6. The question nobody can answer. Sam Altman was back. The crisis was over. Or at least, the visible part of it was over. He returned to his desk. He returned to his team. He returned to his mission. But the 4 days of November 2023 had done something that could not be undone. They had asked a question, loudly, publicly, in front of the whole world. Who controls OpenAI? And nobody had given a complete answer. This question was not only about one company. It was about something much larger. OpenAI was building technology that millions of people were already using. Technology that was entering schools, hospitals, law offices, and newsrooms. Technology that was changing how people wrote, worked, searched, and thought. And the organization building this technology had just shown the world that its own leadership structure was unstable. That was a serious problem, not just for OpenAI, for everyone. 6 months before the crisis, in May 2023, Sam Altman had sat in front of the United States Senate. He was there to answer questions about artificial intelligence. It was a rare moment. A technology CEO invited by the government to speak honestly about the risks of his own product. Sam Altman spoke carefully. He said that AI was a powerful technology. He said that government regulation was necessary. He said publicly, on record, that he was worried about what AI could do if it was not developed responsibly. He also said something that many people found surprising. He called for a new government agency, specifically for AI. A CEO asking the government to regulate his own industry. This was unusual. It was noticed. The debate about AI safety was not new. But after ChatGPT, it became a public conversation, not just a conversation between researchers. On one side, people who believed AI needed to move fast. The technology was here. It was improving. The countries and companies that moved fastest would lead the future. On the other side, people who believed AI needed to slow down. The risks were not fully understood. The consequences of moving too fast could be very serious and very difficult to reverse. Sam Altman spoke publicly about both sides. He said he took the risks seriously. He said OpenAI had a safety team. He said the organization thought carefully about each new release. But OpenAI also continued to release new products. In May 2024, OpenAI released GPT-4o, a new model that could speak, listen, and respond in real time. It could see images through a camera. It could detect emotion in a person's voice. The demonstration was widely watched online. It was impressive. It was also, for some people, unsettling. By 2024, Sam Altman was one of the most recognized names in the technology world. He gave interviews. He traveled between countries. He met presidents, prime ministers, and business leaders. He spoke publicly about a future where AI could help defeat diseases, reduce poverty, and solve problems that had existed for centuries. He also continued to say, in public, on record, that the risks were real, that the technology was powerful, that the decisions made now would matter for a very long time. The question was still there, not answered, not disappearing. Who controls this technology? Who decides how fast it moves? Who is responsible if something goes wrong? Sam Altman did not claim to have all the answers, but he was, by this point, more responsible for those answers than almost anyone else on Earth.
And with this, we come to the end of this story, but that's not the most important thing. Not the story itself, but what did you learn along the story of Sam Altman? I hope you have learned some new words. I hope that you have taken like some notes of some new words related to the story of Sam Altman. And I think the fact that you learned them in this context, in the story of a man and a story that is relevant to today's world, will help you remember these words a lot better. Before you go, of course, make sure to like this video. If you are new, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to share this video with someone that may benefit from it. And I would love to remind you that there is a quiz under this video that will help you see how much did you understand of the video and how well did you grasp the story. There is also two things or 2 points that I would love to mention before we close the video, which are, first, there is a community on WhatsApp. Make sure to join us there and learn English along with a lot of other eager people to learn English. Another thing is, make sure to go to our website WooEnglish.com, where you will find stories in PDF formats along with some exercises that you can do on your free time. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for your support. Leave us a comment telling us your idea or your opinion about today's story. Maybe suggest future stories that you would love to see in the future. Thank you so much and see you in another story.